Viewers, welcome to this channel once again.
A 2-century-old Protestant cemetery in Bangalore has lots to tell. Every tombstone has a story to narrate. The tombstones talk about early British settlers in Bangalore Cantonment and their hardships. Imagine if the tombstone of Private Wilson tells you that he was executed for refusing to drink a pint of rum. Will you believe it? You should believe it, as this was indeed the reality of that time. Even Ripley's Believe It or Not featured this story in one of its editions. In this episode, we shall try to find some chilling facts about the oldest Protestant cemetery, the Agaram Cemetery in Bangalore. This cemetery was active from 1808 to 1870. When the Bangalore Cantonment was established, the cemeteries were at the city boundaries. The Agaram Cemetery reflects the lives and deaths of officers who served in the British Cantonment. During that time, transporting bodies by bullock cart from the cantonment to the cemetery was a full-day affair. The Agaram Cemetery was one of the earliest Christian cemeteries in Bangalore. It was active from 1808 till 1870. It is situated behind the Ushk Officers' Mess, off Trinity Road. Behind the cemetery are the quarters of the Karnataka State Reserve Police. The burial place is not open to the public for security reasons. There are over 840 graves of British soldiers and civilians here, some dating back to 1808. Out of the total graves, only 380 are identified. The grave at the cemetery depict Bengaluru's history and its architectural heritage. The tombstones are of granite mixed with brick, lime, and mortar. Many of the graves were constructed by the undertakers Mullinex and Nelson. Sergeant Major Kelly was the first to be buried in the Agaram Cemetery 217 years ago in 1808. He was part of the 59th Regiment of Foot, an infantry battalion of the British Army formed in 1755. Private Wilson of the 84th Regiment of the British Army was court-martialed and executed around November 1815 for refusing a pint of rum. His refusal was considered an act of indiscipline that defied military tradition. Lieutenant Colonel Letouche Chambers of Her Majesty's 41st Regiment and his wife, Emily Ann, died on August 29, 1827, due to a cholera epidemic. Many gravestones speak about the plague and cholera epidemics that affected Bengaluru in 1820. Two 40-foot-tall pillars stand out amid the vegetation. The columns commemorate officers of His Majesty's 13th Light Dragoons. The tomb close to the pillar is of Lieutenant John Pott of the 13th Light Dragoons, who died on January 31, 1822. A grave near the entrance belongs to Uriel Truelove, who died on January 5, 1855, from cholera. The most recent burial is that of Major General P.K.D. Kapoor, interred here in 1991. In the early 1900s, the Agaram Cemetery became full and was no longer in use. Over time, the site fell into neglect, suffering from a lack of maintenance. Thick vegetation, shrubs, and garbage gradually filled the area. After retiring, Admiral Oscar Stanley Dawson began restoring a colonial cemetery to its former glory. He was supported by Ronald Johnson, who raised awareness about the cemetery's condition by posting pictures on his website. This cemetery is declared a heritage site. These cemeteries, apart from honoring the dead, reflect the events, society, and architecture of those times. The problem at Agaram then was that no one knew its significance or under whose jurisdiction it fell. The cemetery cannot be viewed or entered by anyone because the area belongs to the Indian Army. Thank you for watching this video. To know the unknown and untold stories of Indian history, please subscribe to this channel.